Do you really need to spend a lot on an electric guitar? Harley Benton don't seem to think so, so let's unbox this and find out if they're right. That is heavier than I was expecting. My goodness. Whew. Okay, one box down, one more to go. That is a very well-packed guitar. Harley Benton know what they're doing when it comes to packing something. I got a sticker! This has more packing than my family the last time we went on holiday. Ridiculous. But in a good way. Right, headstock reveal. Ta-da! Pretty. Very pretty. Okay, I'm digging that red. Sometimes when we have guitars like this, companies, when they're trying to emulate another guitar, can get the color a bit wrong. But this looks great. Let's do a full reveal. Oh, yes! My goodness, that's thick. I'm not sure if you can see. It's huge. That is the thickest SG I've ever opened in my life. Okay, this is not reminiscent of a Gibson. This is more 𝗬𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗪 territory. That thing is massive. And this is why I unbox things on camera. Checked by 2956. Thank you, 2956. Not all Harley Benton guitars get checked. I do know that Harley Benton guitars that go out to me get checked. And that kind of makes sense, but we can talk about that later. Right, it's got that new guitar feel, that sort of stickiness. First impressions, apart from the fact that it's really thick. Boy, damn, that's thick! He's a thick boy! Okay, first impressions are that it's heavy, it's thick. I like the fact that there's a little sticker on here to say, don't forget that I'm a push-pull. Thank you very much. No, that one's not. I have forgotten that in the past. Nice little switchy switch. Action's quite high. Bridge is super high. I like it, though. There's a curve on the back, which is really odd. And it's as if the SG has evolved, but also has either been to the gym or pigged out on junk food for a while. I know I'm paying a lot of attention to the thickness, but it is really blowing my mind. I'm going to tune it up and plug it in, and we'll hear what it sounds like just straight out the box. Oh, it's almost kind of in tune. I've stretched the strings, I've pulled it around a little bit. I've spent very little time doing that, and it's ready to go. So I've got the Blackstar HT5 here. I normally go through the Fender Deluxe Reverbs for some cleans, but I'm going to go straight through the rock and roll of the HT5. Sounds like an SG to me. It's raw, it's raucous, it is other words that begin with R, rocky. It is not a Les Paul, although it's almost as fat as one. I'm going to shut up about the fatness. It's got that mid-range and that lack of bass that an SG usually has. Let's see what it sounds like on the neck pickup. That neck is a lot clearer than I'm used to on a neck pickup. There's a world of difference there. Maybe not a world, but possibly a village. That's a great sounding guitar. Middle position. The playability is great. We need to talk about why I think that could be different for you. And we'll do that at the end of the video. Let's go over the specs. So this is the DC Custom 2 from Harley Benton, part of the Custom Line series, which if you know Harley Benton, their Custom Line series is a bit above their entry-level series, but the price is still ridiculously low. The body is made out of Meranti, as is the set-in neck, and on that set-in neck is a roasted Jatoba fretboard. And these are two woods that we're seeing more and more in budget guitars. The neck profile is a C, which I would liken to a 60s Slim from Gibson. Certainly not a big fat one, not a big fat 50s, sadly. It's got a double action truss rod. It's got a 42mm graphite nut, which doesn't say any names on there, but it's holding tune wonderfully. Possibly also down to the authentic Grover tuners. I tried to shy away from using the word authentic then. That's how much I'm aware of it. The body shape itself is more Viper than it is SG, so it's somewhere between a Gibson and an ESP with a little bit of Guild thrown in there. We've got two knobs, a volume, a tone, which is also a push-pull for splitting the coils, and a three-way switch. And these are two Tesla pickups. They are the VR Nitro Alnico 5s, so they're pretty rocking. And just notice they've still got the little bit of that little clear stuff on. Let's get that off. Oh, that feels good. What else? This fretboard is 350mm in radius, which is about 13.5 inches. It's super flat. It's very comfortable. It's got a volute on the back of the neck, missing on your more American-made guitars, and binding all around the neck and the headstock. I've shied away from these shapes in the past because I've wanted any guitar like this to be symmetrical, like an SG, where this isn't. But then I found out that the SG itself is also not symmetrical, so this is just a bit more extreme. And I guess finally, we've got the control panel on the back, which I will crack open later. And instead of having it here, the strap button is on the top horn, which should help with weight issues. Although that chunky body probably means that headstock is going nowhere. If there's anything more you need to know about this guitar, I will put a link in the video description and first comment. But for now, I want to hear it some more. I'm sure you do. So let's get some cleans to the Black Star, and then also later some cleans to the Fender Deluxe Reverb, and some fuzz and some rock and some dirty high gain as well. I genuinely think that's very pretty. I'm not sure about the middle position yet. I think that might need some gain on it, but we'll play around with it. I didn't touch the tone or volumes on that. That was everything all the way up. And I'll do the split coils in a bit. I just really want to rock out with it. Put a bit of extra sauce on that with the rattler to give it a bit of gain. Without that gain, you've just got... And then with the rattler, you've got... So yeah, that is what this guitar is giving you in the bridge mode. I want to see if it does a little bit of bluesiness up on that neck. I backed off the tone a little bit there because this neck pickup is not as dark as I expected. And I'm used to having a cliched, warm, creamy sound on the neck and quite a bright, rocky, thrashy tone on the bridge, and this has that. I'm kind of missing the creaminess on the neck. I sound like such an idiot, but it's the truth, and I've been using those terms for years, and we all have, so I'm going to stick with it. Let's put some fuzz on it. Let's see if it violins up and creams up with that. Yeah, it still doesn't cream up. Maybe I need to be going up the neck a little bit. No, it's not doing it, but the intonation on this guitar is bang on. I mean, I haven't done it with a tuner yet, but let's have a look. It's not upsetting my ear. Okay. It's that low E that is surprising me. There. That's the one that's always out on a Gibson-style guitar, and it's bang on this. Not quite there. Okay. But I'll take the low E. I'll take the low E over any other string any other day, because if that's not in tune or intonated, my main power chords are way off. So if you're gonna intonate one string, let it be the E and the A. That's two strings. If you intonate two strings, let it be the E and the A. Why can't I play today? I had too many sausages for lunch. I'm going to stick with my original assessment. Bridge is wonderful on this, wonderful and rocky. Neck, super clear. And I'm expecting more from the Alnico 5s. Could just be the distance of the pickups to the strings. Who knows? Not me. I've just forgotten how fat it is. I've remembered again. I feel like I want to go higher gain. Let's push that HT5 and see what it does. Don't forget that whenever I say anything about this guitar, the price has to be taken into consideration. 260 euros, you can buy pedals that are twice that, 3 times that these days, and this is a whole giggable, recordable guitar. Let's try splitting the coils of the humbucker, turning it almost effectively into a single coil and a thinner sound. So let's do bridge first. Now neck. And then middle. So if splitting coils is new to you, you tend to lose a little bit of output, and with that I'm losing a bit of bottom end as well. But I'm going to see if it sounds anything like a Strat by pushing up the reverb quite a lot and playing some riffs that I would normally play on a Strat. Feels weird, like for me, when I strap on a certain guitar, I ultimately head to the riffs that I associate that guitar with, like AC/DC for this. So I'm going to try and trick my brain. So this is bridge split. Lost a bit of volume as well. Now that second sound sample might sound more appealing to your ears because it's louder. In the split coil mode, it doesn't sound much like a Strat because of all the other reasons Strats sound like Strats, but it does open up the versatility of this humbucker-equipped guitar. Let's try the same thing with the neck pickup. If you put that up against a Strat, I'll put it up against the Strat, hang on. The feel is so different, I'm wondering how much is actually messing with my brain. Let me go back to the Harley Benton for a moment. It is different. I was just worried that it was going to sound exactly the same after watching this video back. Okay, not to say that one is better, it's just that it's not the same. This is one of the best Harley Bentons I've ever played. One of the best Harley Bentons and one of the best SG style guitars I've ever played, especially at that price point. This, we're talking beating Epiphone territory here. But I'll go into that a bit later. Let's crack it open, well there, and see what's going on inside. Before I open it up, you can get another look at that wonderful color. That really is a beautiful cherry red color. Right, there we are. This is what we need to be looking at down here. So let's crack that open. There we go. That is a tidy looking cavity. So a bit of black paint. I'm going to find out if that's conductive in a moment. In here we've got a large pot, which is a made in Korea Jin Sung, just there. There we go. Then we've got standard, and when I say budget, I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's budget wiring, but it's perfectly acceptable. The sort of standard three-way switch you find in most guitars, but not the big block one. And then we've got a push-pull switch there, which has got some spare solder on the top. Someone changed their mind there. But that's, soldering's great. Capacitors in there as well. Let's find out if this is conductive paint. So let's put you in beepy beepy. That's conductive. The paint is not. So you're not getting a shielding in the paint. Is that shielded on the back? That is shielded on the back. So yeah, this black paint is purely for looks. While we're here, let's measure the output of the pickups or the DC resistance. Okay, so full on, we have the bridge pickup, which is 8.4 kilo ohms. The neck pickup is not there we go, 7.4 kilo ohms, 7.3. So not quite as hot. And then the middle should be about half of those two. 4. 3.9. Let's just split the coil, see what happens then. Should be roughly half of that. 4.3. And then back in the neck. Come on. 3.7. And finally, let's weigh this beast. 3.95 kilos, just shy of 4 kilos. That's a monster. And then that is 8 pounds 10. Let's put that up against my Gibson SG, which is currently missing the little knob on the three-way switch, but still up for comparison. Let's go back to real numbers. 3.95 against the Gibson, which is 3.15, or just under £7. We can also take a moment to appreciate the color that Harley Benton have got on this. That's a little bit darker. That's a wine red, I believe, and that's a cherry red. So, yeah, I still think this is more Epiphone cherry red color, and this is not a fair comparison because that's a wine red that I thought was cherry, but isn't. But let's also look at how fat this one is. Can you see the difference? I'll even measure it. So here we have the Harley Benton, and then up against it, the Gibson SG. It's considerably thicker. In fact, it might not look that thick on camera, but believe me, it is. In fact, if you look at this side, can I do that? There. Look at the difference between those two there. Right, measuring the Gibson, we're looking at 3.495-ish. Let's go for the Harley Beeston. Also at the strap button, which is the thickest part. 4.644, which is over 1 centimeter thicker. Or let's say, I don't know, over a third of an inch, maybe? I need to do the strap test, which is basically finding out if this SG, or SG style guitar, sorry, is neck heavy, neck divey, or all the rest of it, which SG style guitars are renowned for doing. But this body is so chunky, I don't think it's going to happen. All right, here we go. There's a little bit there. A little bit. It would be really bad if the strap button was there, where they normally are on regular SGs. But putting it in the upper horn means it's better. Yeah, that's acceptable, just not perfect. There are so many SG-style guitars out on the market that it is no surprise Harley Benton has thrown their hat in the ring with this new DC Custom 2. The difference is Harley Benton have not gone for entry-level pricing here. They've decked it out a bit with some deluxe stuff, hence the custom line. So it is a set neck. We've got Grover tuners, which are phenomenal. The graphite nut, this thing has not pinged or really gone that far out of tune the entire video. And I was really ragging on it, and I was expecting the G to go out. It hasn't. It really, really is pretty well set up. And I said at the beginning of the video, the action was quite high, but it's mainly just the bridge. That bridge looks unusually high on the bass side. Can I show it to you? I'll get some close-ups there for you. But that does look unusually high, and I would want it dropped down a bit. However, I really like the string tension. It's not floppy, but it's not too stiff. And given the fact that it's made out of Meranti and roast Jatoba, it sounds a heck of a lot like an SG to me, which is mahogany and rosewood normally. And it's how many? 1, 2, 3-piece body, and I'm going to guess a 2-piece neck, but I can't see a join there. I think I can. It's a scarf joint just there, I think. They've hidden that extremely well, if it is. It must be. The bridge pickup gives you that aggressive rock SG tone. The neck pickup is not as warm as I'd like it, but it's clear. There's clarity there, which I'm not used to on an SG neck. And of course, splitting the coils gives you yet another palette of tones, to use an awfully descriptive term there. I'm used to having 4 controls. I'm fine with this having 2. Again, it's a bit more ESP Viper than it is Gibson SG, but as if they had a little baby together or someone drew it from memory. But at close glance, you'd be hard-pressed to not notice that that isn't an Epiphone. One thing I make sure to do with the budget guitars is to check the finer details, such as machine heads, tuners are straight, which they can not be sometimes. The nut is glued in pretty well. I mean, very well for that. There's no real rush job on that. The one thing I did notice about this guitar is that, and it's a small thing, is that the pick guard is raised a little bit, where they've maybe drilled the holes a little bit too sharply, and that is raised. You can get a pick under there, like that. Look. See, I didn't even have to try to do that. It's there. There's a little gap there. That can be fixed by flattening that out and taking the screws out first, flattening the pick guard with a hairdryer, and then pushing it back down again, maybe with some tape. For me, the main selling point of this guitar, apart from the sounds, is the playability and feel, in that it's a poly finish, but that neck is super smooth and it's not at all sticky, which usually catches me on a cheaper poly finish guitar. The electrics are just nice to play with. There's resistance there, but it's not too tough to turn, and you can tell that these are not the cheapest of the cheap electronics. And the same goes for the hardware, and I can't say enough good things about these Grover tuners and the combination with the graphite nut. A quick moment about the finish. I think they've done the binding and the neck and fretboard better than on some modern Gibsons that I've seen for 4 times the price and more. The only off-putting thing about this guitar is that it is heavy and it is a thick body. It really, really shocked me how chunky that was out of the box. But I kind of forgive it. And if you're used to playing a Les Paul and the weight of a Les Paul, that's what you're getting here. You're getting more guitar for your money. But I've got to draw attention to the fact that Harley Benton sent this to me knowing that I was going to review it. So we have to assume that I have a good one here. It's perfectly intonated. It was almost in tune out of the box. It's set up, although that bridge is too high for me, really well. And when you buy a Harley Benton, you're not guaranteed to get one that's been checked. I'm not saying this has had a lot of time spent on it. I do know that it has been quality checked. And to keep the prices down, many budget brands do not check all of their guitars. They check a certain sample of those guitars. So I know this is not a bad example of this model. However, if this is a middle-of-the-road example, and there are better ones than this, then my goodness, Harley Benton have an absolute stellar guitar on their hands here. If you do get a guitar that is not the same as this quality-wise or better, then Thomann and Harley Benton have a very good returns policy. Within 30 days you can return it, but I would recommend doing it within 14. Get it back, they'll refund or replace the instrument. And I have full confidence that that is a great system. It's the only way that Harley Benton can exist, because they don't exist in regular shops unless you go all the way to Germany to the Thomann store, which I recommend you do at some point. But also, if you receive something that is not what I've talked about, let me know in the comments, because I want to make sure that Harley Benton are not just sending me the best of the best and you guys get, the standard stuff. I don't think that is the case. I think they've really hit home with this. If you want to get yourself one of these heavy beasts, then I have put a link for you in the first comment and video description, so you can click that. It'll take you straight to Thomann, and you can, fill out all the rest yourself, I hope. I don't offer such a personal purchasing service yet, maybe in the future. Okay, thanks to Harley Benton for sending this out for review. Dig it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!